So one of the things that we all share, being human, is we all have grandmothers, right? And we all have at least two of them. Some of us have a few more. Grandmothers do lots of interesting things in our lives, and one of the things they can do is teach you how to cook. And I had a couple grandmothers who did that sort of thing for me. Turns out that cooking is a really important thing. Cooking may actually be the reason we're human. Primatologist Richard Wrangham says that maybe as long as 2 million years ago, our pre-Homo sapien ancestors harnessed fire and invented cooking. And when they started eating these amazing cooked foods, the caloric availability of a cooked food is so dramatic that it caused our big brains and our small digestive tracts to evolve from Homo erectus to Homo sapien, which is the species that we all are. So it may actually be true that you're human because your ancestors cooked. So this is fascinating to me because cooking is kind of something that I've been doing a while, and I'm a bit of a foodie, and I like it, and I'm fascinated by sort of the world cuisine and things that go on with it. And cooking was something that's fairly important in my family as well. I had lots of grandparents and parents that cooked all sorts of different things, actually, from all sorts of different angles and all sorts of different specialties. The intriguing thing to me about cooking is that it may actually, as I say, be part and parcel of why we are human. So I come from a Minnesota family, and as the Minnesota joke goes, I'm from a mixed marriage, which is both Norwegian and Swede. Which means my culinary heritage is Nordic and white and fairly dull. Nowhere near approaching the sophistication or complexity of things like Italian or French, Indian or Chinese cuisine. And yet I still am fascinated by these different kinds of cooking and cuisines around the world. Scandinavians do have lutefisk. Does anybody know what lutefisk is? Lutefisk is lye-dried codfish. So like baklava, except instead of salt, you use lye. Think about what that means for a second. What drives the people to take perfectly good food, dry it with lye, keep it all winter long, and then when you have to eat it, rehydrate it by changing the water every day for about a week so that you do not poison yourself or your grandchildren? Lutefisk was served in my family at Christmas time, like in the old country, as they but there were plenty of alternatives for us squeamish youngsters. And since that time, I've really gone interesting ways around food and food traditions and thought a lot about what my family did and what other families do. And one of the things my family did was my grandmothers taught me to cook lefse. Lefse is, well, this is lefse. It's a humble bread, unleavened. It's made from cooked potatoes, white flour, a little bit of dairy fats, and some salt. It's rolled out real thin, and then it's cooked on a dry, hot surface. Now, what's interesting about this is this is served at all the high holidays in my family because it's something that is just passed down from grandmothers. So what's intriguing about lefse is that it's no surprise to any of you in this room that there's cultures all over the world that have a bread like this close to hand, that's eaten with the hand, that's got marvelous things in it or on it or with it, right? All of the cultures of the world have these amazing, simple breads like this. And so that's why I need many grandmothers, is because I don't have grandmothers to teach me how to make those breads and how to make the things that go with those breads. That's perhaps the most important aspect of this. So this lefse turns as a touchstone on that notion of how do we learn these world cuisines and world cultures and so forth. So when it comes down to many grandmothers, I think about my Mexican grandmother, my abuelita. She'd make tortillas, and she'd wrap it around meat and vegetables, and she'd call it a taco or an enchilada or an emulada. My Greek yaya, my Greek grandmother, she would make pita and put gyros or souvlaki, tomatoes, lettuce, yogurt sauce, marvelous things in that very simple bread. My ancient Greek grandmother, my ancient yaya, she would make maza, which was a barley bread, barley cake, that was served with olive oil and cheese and nuts. My Indian noni, she'd make naan. Naan is a bread that's served with curries and other marvelous Indian things, dipped in soups. My Arab jada makes lafa, which is a simple bread that they put fried chickpea dough in, and some of you may know as falafel. Marvelous stuff. You also can dip it in muhammara or hummus, and it's often served with pine nuts and olive oil again. Then there's my Yiddish bubby. Bubby would serve me matzo. Matzo is a food that's been around since the Bronze Age. Is there anything else you can think of at your local grocery store that's from the Bronze Age? Not the Twinkies. So, I also think about my Italian nonna and the zippolis and the pizzas that she would make. There's also my Chinese grandmother, my Lao Lao. She makes chong yao bang, scallion pancakes wrapped around roasted pork and vegetables. There's also my Malaysian grandmother, my nanak. She makes flying bread, roti canai, and serves it with this marvelous lentil curry. Absolutely incredible. And if you take these simple breads, and instead of cooking them that way, flat, hot, dry, you cut them up into shapes, you end up, and then cook them in water, boiling water, you end up with the pastas and the noodles, the mains and the nut funs, spetlezas, all the various things that go in with the boiling water and some sort of dough like this. Then if you take this dough and instead of making it big like this, you make it small, and then you wrap fillings in it, and you pinch it and crimp it, fold it up, and then you either cook it or fry it or bake it or boil it. You end up with pot stickers, pierogies, raviolis, dumplings, amazing varieties, very simple things wrapped around this. All of this comes from all of these different grandmothers. And when I think about all these different grandmothers, I think about their tribes of grandchildren and all the amazing things that these tribes do with these foods and based on these foods. So in my house at Christmas and Thanksgiving, this is served at the table. Usually, for the newbies who've never had it before, we smear it with butter and put a little lingonberry jam on it. Roll it up. That's what you do. But we also have it the next day, wrapped around leftover turkey and stuffing, dipped in hot turkey gravy, kind of a Swedish or Norwegian burrito. I like it best when it's flat and you put smoked salmon on it and put a little Mexican crema on there, roll it up, and have that for breakfast. One of my favorite things. And so these breads, they bring us together. They teach us what was important to our grandmothers, what was the aspects of our cultural family heritage that bring us together and make us a tribe of grandchildren. And when I think about the various conflicts in the world today, I think, my grandmother, she just probably wouldn't have put up with it when it comes right down to it. But these grandmothers, I feel closer to them by teaching and talking and cooking their food. And that's good because then it makes me feel closer to their tribes of grandchildren, my other human tribes. It turns out, too, that there might be a kind of an odd aspect of grandmothers with all of us, which is scientists and their notion of the Eve hypothesis, which is a very simple idea by genetic scientists who say that perhaps through maternal line mitochondrial DNA, We are, in fact, all descendant from one woman, maybe about 200,000 years ago. And so I can only imagine what Grandma Eve would say about the conflict in our world today. She'd probably box our ears. But she'd also probably pull us into the kitchen. I imagine her to be a pretty good cook. I mean, she gave us all of us, right? Pretty good cook, and she'd probably sit you down, and she'd probably cook you something like some lefse. Eat it, you'll feel better. And quit the bickering. Just want peace and quiet in the house. So I urge you to look into your grandmother's heritages, your aunts and uncles, and all the other people that manage these kinds of foods in your family heritage. Learn how to do them. Learn how to go build what's in them or on them or with them. And share that with everybody, with us, with me. Thank you.